Okay, we're going to look at problem 3-15 now. This is mostly ratios, has to do with ratios, but it says the CEO would like to see higher sales and forecasted net income of $2.1 million. You can see currently it's 1.68. Assume that operating costs, excluding depreciation and amortization, are 55% of sales, and that depreciation, amortization, and interest expense will increase by 6%. The tax rate, which is 40%, will remain the same. Note that while the tax rate remains constant, the taxes paid will change. What level of sales would generate $2.1 million worth of income? So all I did was took the problem here from the book and I typed these numbers out here so I can use them for math. So we're looking to figure out how we can have $2.1 million, not percent. Let's see. $2.1 million worth of net income. So since I know that I need to take the EBT times 40% in order to get, in order to figure out what my taxes are, I can also assume that this number should be higher, obviously, than the 2.1. Should be roughly, should be a 60% difference. So what I can do is I can take the 2.1 million. 2.1 million equals 2.1 million divided by 1 minus the tax rate, 0.4 or 0.6 if you want to do it that way, to figure out what my earnings before taxes should be. Let me make this one percentage too, or just decimal too. When it's doing that. All right. So 3.5 million, and I can confirm that needs to be my earnings before taxes. I can confirm that that is correct by taking that number times 0.4, and if this number minus that number equals net income, then I've done this correctly. So that's good for there. So now we know that our earnings before taxes needs to be 3.5 million. So now we can start building out the rest of this. It specifically says that my interest expense will increase by 6%. So I'm going to take 500,000 times 1.06 for an increase of 6%. My earnings before interest and taxes, I can just add this back up because my 2.8 in this problem over here is just this 3.3 minus 500. So to find this, since I've got this 3.5 number as a solid number, I can literally add. So I'm basically building an income statement in reverse here. So now my earnings before interest and taxes needs to be 4,300,000. Depreciation and amortization, it says, what happened is that depreciation, amortization, and interest expense. So that one also goes up by 6%. So do the same thing times 1.06. And now again, I can, since that number is just subtracted from the other, I can just add back up. So I'm taking the 4 million plus the 1.2 million to give me 5,302,000. And then it says my operating costs, excluding depreciation, should stay the same as what it was before. So that means that I need to find a number that 50, and you can do the percentage, we can figure the percentage right here. My operating costs are exactly 55% of my sales. So I need something minus 55% of something. So X minus X times 0.55 to equal 5,302,000. So I can do that as I can take the I can basically solve for X, right? So hold on, pause here just a second. Okay, so I know that in this case, my sales is going to be sales minus sales times 0.55 will equal my earnings before interest and taxes. So effectively what I can do is the inverse of this to find and divide the sales, divide my EBITDA by my 45% to figure out what the 45% difference is going to be. I'm sorry, basically just to do the algebra. So I can take my sales, which is my EBITDA, divided by 0.45, and that should get me my sales number. And we can plug that in here to make sure it's correct. So if we did this math right, it should be sales. So 11,782, and we'll leave the decimals out, but minus 11,782 times 55, I'm sorry, 0.55. And if I've done this math correctly, I'm just checking my math here, then this number should equal 5302. And it does. I mean, it's a rounding difference, a very minimal rounding difference, but a rounding difference nonetheless. I slipped a zero there somehow. No. There we go. If I didn't add enough twos in both those. So that gives me that number. So I should be able to take this number minus 0.55. And if I've done it right, that minus that should equal 5,302,000. So I've just basically built a reverse income statement to figure out. So now I know, from this math I just did, I know that if I want my bottom line to increase from 1.6 million to 2.1 million, I need to increase my sales from $10 million to $11,782,000. And that should return me an income, net income after taxes and interest and depreciation of $2.1 million. And that's for that one.